Hey superfans, it is Fit Nerd from Superheroes Ultimate and
Flash Fanatic.
And we're going to discuss the top 5 movies of 2018. Now, I have my own top 5 and he has his own top 5.
If you're new to this channel, then hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications button so you can stay updated in the here and now in the superhero world.
What the hell is that noise? Did you hear that?
Yeah, what the hell?
What the hell is that? Come on,
Well, hold on a second.
We're trying to do the top 5 here.
What the hell is that? What the hell? What the hell? What is he? Oh, God. Alright, you know what? I can't deal with this guy anymore. I'm gonna do something about this.
Open up! Guys! I'm looking for the big fat guy with the big red sack.
Alright,
What are we gonna do about this?
I have a guy.
This guy.
So, do you want to start with your number 5, or should I? Or do we agree on number 5, don't we?
Number 5 for me was Aquaman. I don't know if you agree with that one.
I do agree with that one. I actually just saw Aquaman this week and had a chance to see it again. And for me, I thought it was visually stunning.
Visually stunning, and possibly the only DC movie that probably made on the top list.
Yes, they kind of, I thought, went in the direction of, you know, what Wonder Woman was trying to do, and it made it a little bit more lighthearted. We're kind of getting away from the dark and gritty, and we started to see that in the Wonder Woman movie.
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was definitely more fun to watch.
And there was a lot of things in the story for me, this is why it's number 5 for me, is that certain things didn't work. I thought it was a little too long. There could have been parts I would have cut out or made shorter. Specifically, some of the romance that was kind of implied.
Cheesy, like some of those little cheesy lines in there that just like...
Yeah, you know,
I mean, they tried to deliver it as much as possible, and I know that there's a whole history that obviously Mira and Aquaman get married. We have a kid. That's not a spoiler. That's in the source. That's in the comic book source material.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen. We all know that they were gonna hitch up anyways, but I think I agree with you. It could have been done better. No, it doesn't look jolly. Ooh, tiny house. There must be elves here. Hello?
Wade Wilson!
So number 4 on the list, my choice was Venom. Venom, I think, did justice by the character. That's the number 1 thing, is that they did justice by the character. The writing wasn't exactly top notch for it, but Tom Hardy is really what sold Venom. He was he portrayed the character for what a Venom fan would want to see in real life.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened.
I agree with that.
And we got better CGI.
Yeah.
Because the CGI, we all were fearful of the Spider-Man 3 Venom that has happened, so we all had that in the back of our heads that that's going to be the Venom, and it was not.
I'll agree that the casting for Venom was great, and also the CGI, like, very much reminiscent of the 90s Spider-Man from the animated cartoon. Very, like, the bulky, like, bodybuilder looking kind of Venom. Although there were things I didn't necessarily like about it, with like no symbol on the chest, which they kind of took away.
But that was only the association because he was with Spider-Man first, and he got it second. But since he didn't get it at all first in this storyline or this universe, because there's a multiverse and we could always just play with it, and that's why it actually rolled in a lot of Venom fans were okay with it. Yeah. Me as a Venom fan, I was okay with not having the emblem. It didn't make any difference whatsoever for the character.
But number 4 for me, it might be a little controversial I put it this low, what is Black Panther. So I'm sure that's probably on your list somewhere as well. And
that made it to 4, huh?
Yeah, I made it from number 4. I thought, honestly, not many cons to bring it down. But a lot of the same beats, I think, for superhero films is just when I saw it, it was just reminiscent of all those beats and kind of like, all right, well, there's like kind of this army. I thought the character, the villain, was great in it, and I really feel like it was definitely one of those movies that brought to light a lot of real world problems. And inequalities and things we kind of see as like third world nations. Like,
it was definitely more than just a regular superhero movie.
Yeah.
It brought a political impact.
Yeah, sorry,
and
that
a
was
multicultural impact to what the world really needed right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with all those points. But like I said, I think the thing that kind of is bringing it down my list the most is that it does hit a lot of the same beats. With a few exceptions, like I do like the big battle where everyone's like fighting. I mean, I feel like every movie now has one of those things, like big battle, this side, my side versus your side. It was great choreography, but like that's why it's low on my list.
Wade Wilson, I'm here to sex you up.
We tried that already. It didn't get good reviews.
Wilson! Jammed.
All right, next let's go on to number 3. So let's start off with you.
All right, so mine is actually, we're including animated films on this list as well. And so this one was, I thought I had a lot of fun seeing this, was Batman Ninja. I do put it above Black Panther, but there is a reason for it. I think it was very, very ballsy to actually put two different genres, kinds of like, cartoons, like Batman and anime, in kind of the same movie. And honestly, I cannot recall if it's from a comic or not, but I do know that when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is like Voltron meets Power Rangers and Batman. And there are times where you're just like, all right, now you'll see the full power of my big robot Zord thing that transforms, and then you guys have some kind of like big clunky robot thing as well. It's different. It's very different, especially than what we've seen, and I had to put it a little bit higher on my list just because just hit a few good beats that I wasn't used to.
It didn't make my top 5, but I must agree it is an awesome movie. It is everything you would have thought in between a Batman movie and anime, and you mesh it up together. It literally is a mashup of an anime Batman. It's its own turf, its own territory, and I'll admit it actually was really damn good. I actually love that movie. Not on my top 5, but it is in my favorite type movies.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Infinity War.
Ooh.
Avengers Infinity War is definitely number 3 for me. Mainly for the reason that it was accumulation of 10 years worth of movies, all 18 movies, and yes, it was a big deal.
What else coming over? Yeah.
It was just an accumulation of everything that fans wanted to see, but as far as, again, it has to have good writing in it in order for it to actually be a
It was
good
emotional.
movie.
It hit emotion.
It was emotional.
It had comedy in it. It had heart. Like it had
a little bit of everything, but there was just some things missing out of it.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, the reason why it's not number 1 on my list is because, like I said, it hits those beats that we're so used to, where you have a big CGI army versus another big CGI army. Great battles, like really
Clone Wars. Clone Wars. It was basically Clone Wars with the Avengers.
There were literally moments in the movie that I feel like they just wrote for the stop and applaud, like the reveal of Captain America, Steve Rogers, when he walks he catches the spear and he turns in the light. There was literally a time, there's a pause for a good 5 seconds, where when I was in the theater, it was the whole oh yeah, Captain America's back with the beard and all that stuff.
And that was it.
And that was it. We've kind of grown with these characters in the last
10 years. 10 years. 10 years.
Half the Guardians gone. Groot's gone. that like
There's many debates going on who's coming back and who's not, but we all know the majority of them are going to come back.
See, I'm not gonna stay on this too long, but see, DC should take a note if they want to restart everything. Like maybe take a page from this book and Flashpoint.
They have to Flashpoint.
That should be their emergency button.
Flashpoint, and that's it.
But
just keep Aquaman the same.
Yeah, but Aquaman and Wonder Woman the same.
And Wonder Woman.
But yeah,
Let them be unaffected by it.
Very good movie. Hit a lot of points that I liked. But,
unless, actually, I could see. I know this is like subsiding from what we're talking about, but it's really not. If they do a Flashpoint, they actually can use the Wonder Woman that we have now and the Aquaman, and then have them go to war. Jason Momoa versus Gal Gadot. How freaking badass would they be on screen?
I agree with that. I think that's honestly one of the best ways of utilizing both those properties. You could use Wonder Woman, who did great in the box office. Aquaman, this is last week of December basically, so we don't know much about the numbers and how it's going to do overseas. But if it does well, then that's definitely a huge possibility. But I very much would love to see if they were doing a Flashpoint movie. Actually, if they did the same director, that would be James Wan.
No, it has to be James Wan. It has to be James Wan.
He killed it.
A little sword play.
I'm just jealous that I'm the better version of you. Next up, let's go to number 2. Now, your number 2 was...
Your number 3, actually.
My number 3.
My Infinity War. And we just spoke about that, so we'll just go back to your number 2. What's your number 2?
So my number 2 was actually Black Panther. And I put that before Infinity War only because it actually had a much better balance of everything that I wanted in a movie. Which is the story, the action, the effects, the suit. Like, everything was much better balanced than Infinity War. Infinity War was just a big kind of Star Wars type,
like battle after battle,
battle after battle.
Like, oh no,
which was cool because it's cool to watch it as a fan, and it's like we already saw all this story part of things through 10 years worth. So it makes sense that they didn't put that much effort into that and just showed all the clashing.
I think they had both really great villains, and I think that was, for me, I mean, that's why kind of my Infinity War, I thought Josh Brolin just killed it with that, and none of the other, I call them the side villains, like his children, Thanos' children, did a really crazy good job at,
They were extras.
Yeah, they were like extras. But I do agree that, some of the villains, like Killmonger, was great, like probably one of my favorite Black Panther villains.
Although that's one of the one of the little tiny details that I will say, of course, is one of the cons is the final fight scene between Black Panther and Killmonger. I wasn't that much of a fan of it as a whole. Yes, that's why it's
I
in my
love
number
the way
2.
that ended, but again, like
I love the way it ended. That fight scene didn't cut it for me.
Before we hit number 1, I'm just gonna say a few honorable mentions. I'm gonna say Death of Superman. Definitely, and
Death of Superman is definitely one of the honorable mentions. And of course, I am a big fan of DP himself, Deadpool 2. No, I do not think that he should be in the top 5, but I still love Deadpool. I got much love for you, man. Much love for you.
Just a mention on that, I think hit a lot of the same beats. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
I think they were trying to go more over the top than the first one. And the first one just had just enough over the top to make it awesome in its own. And they tried to they tried too hard.
Yeah.
They tried too hard.
But just saying, like, still a great movie to watch. Like,
it's great. It was entertaining. It was
just
laughing.
Because
our number 1, we definitely both agree, and it's 100% was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right, let's just quick couple things about it that we liked.
Story. So rich a story.
So first, I mean, like, even just before even going to the story, so obviously it has to have a great story, and I agree with that. That is 100%.
Richer story.
Personally, I think I have a thing for, I guess, animated films. I just think that it's a lot harder to get it right for animated films. Like, for me, watching the show in the 90s and early 2000s, like Batman, the Adventures of Batman, and like Spider-Man animated series, those shows were rich in the story. But what did it for me for this movie was literally, and X-Men. I wasn't a huge X-Men fan.
I was a huge fan because I read the 1991 comics.
I had it on VHS. I remember like having the Sentinels video of like.
Do you remember when the Pizza Hut used to have those?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
One of the things. It was a VHS, like instead of a Happy Meal or a toy, it was a VHS of the episodes, like 1, 2 through 5 or whatever.
What I really liked about it was the actual visuals to it. I don't think there's been any other movie in recent history, at least anything that I've seen, that feels like you're taking the story and the characters right off the pages of the comic book and onto the big screen. And from the first second, like, it started giving me the credits, and like it felt like I was almost going into a 3D movie when I was watching. I was like, wait, what? Why is it like super colorful? And all of a sudden you get the bubbles as when he becomes like Spider-Man. He's like, you see the thought bubbles, and it's like, oh my god, this is literally being torn right out of a comic book. And
I mean, the best way, the way that I described it in the review, which I'll put in the description below, I basically stated it that it's like watching and reading a comic book at the same time. It's like reading a live comic book.
Yeah.
Like it's like right in front of you. You're reading it, but it's happening.
Yeah. No,
it's a new experience as far as like for a comic book fan. In my opinion.
And like, I mean, I'm gonna say one thing I loved. You said the story, and I definitely, and I have a thing for villains, so I definitely feel like the villain story was one of you could relate to, and it's not one we usually see. I think they were true to the comic. They expanded so much. They set up for sequels. It was so good, and I was I found myself smiling all through. And it, like again, like what we talked about, it had heart, it had comedy.
It had that perfect balance of everything that a comic book nerd would love to see in a superhero movie. And this was the epitome of a superhero movie. And the new technology that Sony used for their new animation, because this is all new technology that they use also, you know, for the new 3D look that they had, it made it look more like a comic book.
Yep.
And it works. It absolutely works. It gave it a realism without the realism.
Yep. Kingpin shoots Prowler.
Yeah.
Like no blood or anything. Like, you know, they took that part out, but it's implied that they shot him like point blank almost. Like, and it was
in the back,
right in the
spine. It was an effective way of like. Yeah. It was acting in the cartoons. Like, what?
I was like, wow, I can't believe they actually went there. Like, I mean, they could have done something off screen. They could have done it more comic booky, like, you know, one of the villains does it, like he, punches him or hugs him, but they actually went the whole on gun, shoot him back.
But then there's also the harsh way that Spider-Man dies.
There is the harsh,
gets crushed like a bug.
Well, yeah, true.
Oh, looks like you left all your bullets.
You're right. All my bullets.
Alright, superfans, so that is our top 5 of the 2018 superhero movies. If you agree with me or him, comment below, or if you have any of your own top 5, we want to hear about it.
And of course, superfans, if you want to be entered to win the Captain Marvel collectible from my private collection, then hit the subscribe button and comment below.
And you guys can follow me on Instagram at FlashFanatic.
And of course, this is Fit Nerd from Superheroes Ultimate. Over and out.
Finally, a silent night.
3, 2, 1, a blue!